Go ahead, do us a favor, go ahead and hit that likes button, hit the subscribe button. This is Jaguar Nation. This is Left Side of the Brain, Jaguar's Up. Today, what I want to speak about is, I want to keep this more on a reflection type level, because one thing about me, I like to keep my channel balanced, and I don't like to always speak about, I won't say negative things, but things that always keep you like concerned with them. You get what I'm saying? So today, I want to talk about just a thought of reflection that I had. And because I like to keep everything in perspective, because ultimately, it's you that you are dealing with in this life. When your eyes close, the world shuts down with you. When your eyes open up, the world opens up around you, because you are the gateway and the plug into the electromagnetic field around you. Okay, it's kind of like they say when people buying drugs, they say such and such is my plug. You get what I'm saying? Because they have an addiction. So in order for them to get that addiction served, they need a plug, someone who can connect them with the drug, hence a plug. So likewise, in this parasitical by nature human prison bar world, you are the plug that keeps them alive. They need you to be addicted to them. But the thing is, they depend upon your addiction just like a plug. Because without you, the HPB system will shut down. So, having said that and keeping all of that in perspective, at times, we need to reflect on life itself. Connecting with your inner plug. We always connect with the outside plug, but how many of us connect with our inner plug? And that's what today's video is about. It's a revelation that I had, and I want to share it with you, the Jaguar Nation. So let me get up and let me show you something. Now I'm gonna pan my camera around, and I wish I had a more beautiful tree to serve this example, but we're going to go with what we got. All right. Now, I always say everything in nature is teaching you something. If you would just simply be quiet and let nature teach, you will get the lesson. Okay. Only thing you have to do is just sit and be quiet. Nature is speaking to you. Okay? In fact, the sound of the wind that you hear, you know where that wind is coming from? The wind is the same voice of God that spoke, "Let there be." That's what that wind is. That wind is that same voice that moved everything. When you feel that breeze, that's that communication of let there be. Let there be light. Let there be. That's what that wind is. It's the voice of God moving around. And the only thing you got to do is inhale that voice. Inhale the wind. Okay? Listen to it. Listen to the rustling of the trees, because it's speaking to you. Even now, I'm speaking to you via the wind being manipulated by my tongue and by my vocal cords. As I hit certain chords with my vocal cords and my tongue and my lips moving in a certain way to create sounds. So this wind that's around you is the voice of God, still echoing throughout the world. It never stopped echoing. Now, let me find a tree because I want to show you something. Let me find a beautiful tree. Let's see. Let me find a beautiful tree. There's some people back there, so to avoid them, I'll go this way. Not the best of trees out here where I'm at. I'm like in a shopping area parking lot, so it is what it is. Take this time to hit the likes button and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already did so. If you're a newcomer, you may have to catch up on some of the videos that we do. Ask some of the people in the comment section. All right, we'll just use this tree. You see that tree right there? I'm panning up. You see the leaves on that tree? I took photography class once when I was in university. You see the leaves on that tree? What do you see when you see that tree? What do you see when you see that tree? I'm gonna tell you what I saw, what was given to me. You see, that tree has several branches, right? Now, what that tree represents, it represents the family tree of the world that we live in, the human family tree. And every branch on that tree, represents a different level of existence. Now, that level of existence represents mentally, spiritually. Some people are on higher levels spiritually than others. Some people are on higher economical levels than others. You know how they say such and such was born with a silver spoon in their mouth? Every leaf on every branch of that tree, it represents one of you. None of those leaves asked to be born on any particular branch. It didn't ask to be born on the bottom level, lowest to the ground. And the ones up high, the leaves up high, they didn't ask to be born at the top of the tree. But guess what? That's where they ended up. And one leaf at the top of the tree is no better than a leaf at the bottom of the tree. And every one of these leaves, they are a child of this tree, where they grew from. Each one of these tree branches represents a different branch of the human race, the human family. Some leaves at the top of the tree, that represents people who were born in wealthy families. That tree It represents the different caste systems in the world. Upper class, middle class, lower class. But they all are connected to the same tree. It doesn't mean that because a person is born in the upper class, that they are any better than someone born in the lower caste system. Because nobody asked to be born in the situation that they ended up in. They just ended up in that situation. Like these leaves on the tree. Now, depending on what time of the year it is, and depending on what type of tree this is, because I don't know exactly what type of tree it is, but like most trees, they shed their leaves during autumn season. Just like everybody, just like every one of us, we have a time and a season. And when that time comes, just like the leaves on the tree, just like the leaves on the tree, we fall to the earth. No different. They put us under the ground. Every leaf that hits the ground, it eventually decomposes and go back into the earth. And every leaf on that tree, no matter how high one leaf is above the other, when the leaf falls to the ground, the season of autumn is what we say death is to humans. It's the great equalizer. It brings every single one of those leaves to the same level. Can y'all see this tree good? I might have to do like this. It brings every one of those leaves to the same level. Are y'all listening? Are y'all taking notes? And each one of those leaves, when they fall to the earth, guess what? They go back into the earth. And guess what they do? You see that tree branch? You see that the tree trunk underneath the ground? You can't see it, but let's get closer. At the base of this tree, you have roots. You have roots. This tree is rooted and grounded. These dead leaves, they serve as fertilizer and nutrients. And this tree trunk, by way of the roots, absorbs all of those dead leaves and all of the nutrients they left behind, as well as the water when the rain falls. Okay? So what does that mean? It means that even at death, take notes. Even at death, our life can serve a purpose. You know why? Just like those leaves, we can leave something behind for the future generations to feed from. Because those leaves, they dead. But the future generations learned something from those leaves that died. And what those leaves left behind enabled this tree to spring forth more green leaves. Are you catching the metaphor? You catching the metaphor? I'm utilizing the law of exceedings right now. I'm not going to tell y'all what the law of exceedings is. That's your homework assignment in the comments section. We haven't did one of these type of videos in almost like a year and a half now, because all of this stuff been taking place. I've been on that other stuff lately, turning up the heat and everything. But I decided we got to go back like a summer or two ago, and we got to go back to them nature walks so we can stay centered about us, so we don't get so sidetracked about everything else that's going on. So are you catching the metaphor? Even at death, those leaves that died are important because they left something behind for the future generation, for the future leaves. So what am I saying? What's the connection? The connection is the information that you leave behind In this world, it can serve as spiritual food, just like the dead leaves, for the next generation to grow upon, to grow from. It serves as spiritual nutrients, spiritual food for the next generation. That's why they say, catch the word I'm about to say, leaving. You get it? The key word, leave. Leaving something behind. You see how even in our words, the lesson came from a tree? Leaving something behind. Leaving. That's all it is. Life itself teaches you everything. You have to tune into it. Just by looking, your eyesight is a form of communication. Just like sound waves is a form of communication. Every one of your senses can teach you something. With your sense of sight, just observe. Like I always say on this channel, become an observer. You can observe something and learn something without somebody speaking. It doesn't always have to be through words. It can just be through looking and observing. Become an observer. You see? In silence, wisdom grows. In meditation, sometimes you got to shut down the noise and plug into your inner self. Become addicted to your inner self. And that's one of the ways you lose the addiction to this outer world. By tuning in to this inner world inside of you. And once you do that, you make loneliness disappear. What have we said on this channel before? Make loneliness, turn it into an entity. Make it be your friend. Like me right now, out here by myself. Just out here observing nature by myself. I don't need nobody. I got God. Some of y'all don't believe in God. I'm seeing lately in the comment section, but God is real. God is what's giving me this insight. God is the ultimate communicator. He communicates in so many ways. He can communicate through me talking to you right now. He can communicate through your inner voice inside of you. When people say, God is speaking to me. God has so many ways to communicate. But he can't communicate with you if you are egotistical. If you are egotistical, full of yourself, vain. What do you have to be vain about? You didn't create yourself. Then people, they like to turn to a lot of these tag words like the universe told me, and they trying to create every little side word instead of saying the creator told me. There is a creator, people. We didn't create ourselves. We didn't come up with the knowledge that we have. We inherited it from God. Even us who have souls, we inherited our souls from God. Like I always say, the law of inheritance says that everything in nature is inherited from something that came before that thing. Your skin color, your eye color, your hair texture, everything was inherited from something that existed before that thing, which gave the offspring its inheritance. That's the law of inheritance. Likewise, our consciousness. We inherited our consciousness from God. Going all the way back to the first man and woman, they inherited their consciousness from where? The supreme everlasting consciousness that always existed. We live within the mind of the Creator. Nothing lives outside of consciousness. Nothing. I was sitting here thinking, should I split this video in two, because I had another revelation that I wanted to share. I think I'll make another video. I'll make another video for that. But I wanted to leave y'all with that lesson. Using that tree, using that leaf, using that tree as a lesson, just to show you that all throughout nature, all around you, there are lessons. Life itself, the natural world that you live in, it's like walking around through the open pages of a book. Remember you was a kid and those pop-up books, and you open it up and the house will pop up like a 3D book? That's what this life is. We live inside an open book. And all you got to do is just read the world around you. Read people around you. Learn people around you. That's why God gave us senses. So we can navigate through this world. So we can navigate through troubles. So we can navigate through the pitfalls of life. And in this life, I'm not saying that everything is berries and popcorn and milkshakes and honey roasted peanuts. I'm not saying everything is sweet, as they say. There are ups and downs in life. There are rugged edges on mountains. But within all of that, there is beauty within all of that. And within all of that, there is illusions within all of that. See, there's a lot to it. Within all of this, you have spider webs. So there's a bit of deception within all of this. You ever been walking and you just walk into a spider web? That spider web is a reflection of the world that we live in. It's self-evident that this created world that we live in, it has parts of the human prison ballroom as seen with the spider web. It's like a web of deception. You don't see it, you fly into it. And then it has the other beautiful parts to it. Harmless, non-poisonous flowers that pollinate the world around you. But through it all of it can teach you a lesson. And then you have instances in this world where things look beautiful from afar, from a distance. Like, let me give you a metaphor. Like, you can be looking at the ocean from a distance, and it looks so beautiful. The water is sparkling like diamonds, the sun shining on the surface of the water, and you in an airplane, like looking down saying, oh, look how marvelous this world is. But if that plane was to lose gasoline mid-air, guess what would happen? That plane would nosedive into the ocean. And that same beautiful ocean would turn into a bed of concrete upon impact. That plane hitting that ocean so at such a high speed, it would be like diving head first into a empty pool with no water in it. And that same beautiful ocean could turn into a deathbed. So it all depends upon the situation and how you're looking at things. You get what I'm saying? So things look very beautiful from afar, from a distance. Just like you may be envying the life of somebody else because you're seeing them from a distance. You may see a couple walking around together and they look like they having so much fun and they look so happy. And you thinking to yourself, I wish I had a significant other like them. But you know what? You just viewing it from a distance. If you was actually in those people's shoes, it could be something totally different. Like the example I gave you about looking at the ocean 20,000 feet up in the air. Everything looked beautiful from a distance. That's why I like to keep stuff like that. Like, let me observe y'all and let me see you from a distance. I'm fine. Everything looked beautiful from a distance. That's why I really don't, do too much talking to everybody. The world looks beautiful from a distance. When you see people walking around through the metropolitan cities all across America, this video is starting to get too long. I don't want to keep y'all all day, But I'm gonna just make this last statement. When you see people walking around through the metropolitan cities, you're a tourist in New York City or you're a tourist in Tokyo, Japan, the lights, the city, all of that look beautiful from a distance. But to actually live and surviving in those cities, once you stop being a tourist and you actually become a resident, you no longer remain in that tourist mindset. You get what I'm saying? Like if you went on a hiking trip, it's a hiking trip, because you know that at the end of the day, when the sun go down, you leaving. You can get back in your car and everything. But what if your car didn't crank up? You ran out of water. You had like a week's supply of water. You ran out of food. I mean, you only had a minimal amount of food, and you was out there somewhere in Yellowstone National Park, just lost in the wild. That hiking trip would turn into what? Now I gotta learn how to survive within all of this world. And that's another lesson I want to talk about too. Surviving in nature, that's an art form, man. That's a forgotten art form. We need to get back into learning how to survive in nature. One of the I'm talking too much now. Let me end this video because I'm going into like 2 and 3 different things, and I'm trying to stay, focused on one point because I don't want to put too much up right now. I think I'm gonna do another video today. Tell me what y'all thought about it in the comments section. If you want to add something to that tree metaphor, I would love to hear what you got to say, because I know y'all say some interesting things. You could have saw something I didn't see. You can add something that maybe that can enlighten me, put me on to something, Like, I want to hear what y'all got to say. I really like this video. I had fun making it. Tell me what y'all think. Also, I want to give a shout out to everybody who donated, some money to me. One person had hit me up with some money. They sent something in the cash app. I was like, oh man, I wasn't expecting this, because people have fell off from subscribing to the Patreon and everything. But I'm about to get that Patreon page back popping. We got the cash app now, so if you want to leave a donation to the channel, feel free to do so. I will leave all of that information in the description box. Tell me what y'all think in the comment section, for real. Like, for real, I want to see some good paragraphs. None of that elementary stuff. A topic like this deserves well thought out paragraphs. I'm not saying write a whole 2 pages of a book, but I'm saying share your thoughts. I want to read it. I want to talk about it in the next video, some of the best ones that I read, and I'll do a video like, going in on some of the best ones I've read. So y'all do that in the comment section. Don't forget the homework assignment. What is the law of exceedings? I want y'all to tell us in the comment section, because we went over that before. What is the law of exceedings? And yeah, until we do it again, this is LSOTB signing out.